one of my big fears is if I really fear, I just never want to get to a point where I'm entitled. And I've seen it happen with wealthy families. I've seen it happen with people I'm very close to. And that's something I think maybe I just naturally just reject so much that I do not want that to like enter my mind ever. And then also I hope that, I don't consider myself, a wildly successful entrepreneur at this point. Maybe one day I will be, or maybe one day I'll be a mildly successful, but I just hope my head does not go along with that. Maybe will. I hope it does not. And I kind of debating bringing this up on this podcast because my dad is still alive, and maybe I'll send this to him too. But one of the things I loved about, and I've told him this before too, one of the things I loved about him growing up, or at least how I perceived him to be, was that he was so modest about what he's done in his career, from a business standpoint, very modest about that. In the last 15 years, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's midlife crisis, I don't know what it is, but that totally has flipped 180 degrees, or at least maybe I'm more aware of it now. I don't know what it is, but I tend to believe it's the former. And it's such an unattractive trait to me. And it's something that bugs me almost daily of how he conducts himself in that way. That it's honestly a hard thing to deal with on a daily basis when I'm around him as much as I am. And so that's something that when I see that and I look, hey, if I ever get to that point in my life, I just want to embody something that's completely opposite to that. And remember, Robbie, remember what I'm experiencing, what I'm thinking, what I'm going through right now, because you don't want your kids to be thinking of your dad in the same way.
Yeah. And I appreciate you highlighting that and saying it. I know sometimes it's difficult to talk about family, in their not best light. But my sense is the fact that you're so in tune to this is that you will never be that. Usually people that have an awareness around not wanting to be a certain way don't end up being that way. Now, I mean, you described your dad as doing a 180, so who knows? Maybe that's something you'll always need to keep your finger on the pulse of. But I think you're probably headed down the right path, knowing that you are that sensitive to it now. And I think there's a fine line in there between, and I don't want to speak for your dad. I don't know your dad. I don't really know how that shows up, but there is a fine line in there between being modest and then kind of caring too much about how you're viewed.